Did you know that the average golfer doesn't even hit 5 greens in regulation, while a scratch golfer hits more than double? If you're serious about shooting lower scores and becoming a more consistent golfer, you have to hit more greens in regulation. In this video, I'm going to take you through 9 proven strategies that will help you hit more greens so you can have more birdie putts and definitely shoot lower scores. And the best part, none of these tips require changing your swing. So how many greens should you actually hit? Tour players hit 67% of greens in regulation. Scratch golfers hit 56%, 9 handicaps hit 38%, 15 handicaps hit 27%, and the average golfer is about a 14.2 according to the USGA, and 20 handicaps only hit about 20% of greens. The first thing we have to do to hit more greens is to make sure we're playing the right tee boxes. The problem is a lot of amateur golfers try and go too far back, but if you're hitting hybrids and fairway woods into every par 4, you're simply not playing the right tee boxes. Here's a general guide on tee boxes based on average driving distance. If you're hitting at 300 plus yards, you can tee it up at 7,000 plus. If you're hitting at about 275, you should play 6,700 yards. If you're hitting at 250, 6,300 yards. And if you're averaging 225 off the tee, you want to play about a 6,000 yard course. The second way to hit more greens in regulation is to simply hit it longer off the tee. If you're leaving yourself a lot of long irons, hybrids, or fairway woods, even if you are playing the right tee boxes, you're just not going to hit a lot of greens. Because here's the thing, no matter how skilled you are with your irons or long clubs, you're still just never going to hit as many greens from 175 versus 150 or 120. So increase your driver distance and it's going to make a massive impact on your ability to hit more greens in regulation. I like training with ripstick. You can also do speed only sessions. You can make sure your driver is fit for your swing. You can do a lot of different speed training activities and exercises out there, but you have to figure out how we can hit it farther. Just like more greens in regulation leads to lower handicap, longer distances off the tee also lead to lower handicap. So if you can have more irons and wedges into greens, you're simply going to have more birdie putts. Third thing we have to do to hit more greens in regulation is to make sure your equipment is helping and not hurting your game. You want to make sure every one of your clubs is intentionally fit for a specific shot, a specific distance, and your unique swing. If you're a committed golfer watching this video and you really want to break 80, you want to become a scratch golfer, you have to have the right clubs for your game. I'm not saying you have to go out and buy everything new right now, but go to do a quick club fitting session, check your shafts, check your lie angle, check the length of your putter, and some other things to make sure that all your clubs are actually there and helping and not hurting your golf game. I'd say the biggest thing to think about with your iron so you're hitting more greens is your lie angle. Sometimes you need to be a little upright or a little bit flat depending on your swing, and that's something a club fitter can easily identify and tweak right there at the store. So you don't have to buy any new equipment, but make sure your lie angle is right. Also, some fresh grips don't hurt either. The fourth way to hit more greens in regulation is to have a good distance chart so you actually know how far your 7-iron, your 5-iron, your wedge, every club goes. When you actually spend time at a simulator using a launch monitor and mapping out your distances, you're going to have more confidence on the course and you're going to be able to pull the right clubs so you can hopefully have more birdie putts. But if you're kind of just guessing out there more than anything else, it's going to be really hard to hit as many greens as you need to lower your handicap. The easiest way to create a distance chart is to spend several sessions, because again, you don't want to do this all in one, because you want to hit at least 15 to 20 balls with each club, throw out any outliers. So if you hit a shank, thin, fat, get rid of those. And if they're normal shots though, then you want to average those out so you get clear about what distance each club goes. When you have that, you might want to print something out, keep it in your yardage book, keeps a note in your phone. That way when you're on the course, you know, hey, 150, this is a perfect 8-iron, or hey, this is 200, this is a perfect hybrid. When you know your distances, it's going to make it a lot easier to pull the right club and hopefully get more birdie putts. The fifth thing you want to do to hit more greens in regulation is to play one shot shape. You don't need to hit draws and fades. You want to just play one go-to shot 99% of the time. Sure, it might change if you have a branch hanging in your way or you have some other obstacle, but in general, you want to just play one single stock shot, because when you have that one stock shot, you're not going to hit those dreaded double crosses. You're going to be able to pick your target, whether it's the left side if you're playing a fade or the right side if you're playing a draw, and you're going to be able to swing your swing. The problem I see with so many golfers, and a big mistake I made, was trying to hit draws into certain pins and fades into others, when in reality, it's just made me play too much golf swing and not just play golf. The sixth thing you want to do to hit more greens in regulation is to focus on your fundamentals. Look, if you're serious about breaking 80, playing more consistent golf, and hitting more greens, you got to make sure that you're just dialing in the fundamentals. That's your setup position, that's your alignment, and that's your grip. It's the boring stuff like that that oftentimes will lead to the biggest results. Even if you watch Scotty Scheffler, who is just playing a video game when it comes to golf this year, is always working on his grip. He has a grip trainer on a club that he's constantly using, something I've adopted this year as well, because if your grip is off, it's gonna make it really hard to make the type of contact you want so you can actually hit it flush and hit more greens. So focus on the basics. When you're at the simulator, when you're at the driving range, make sure you're getting your alignment dialed, record your swing sometimes, work with an instructor every once in a while if you need a quick tune-up, so that way you're focusing on those 3 fundamentals so you're setting yourself up for success. Otherwise, you can get into some really bad habits. Aiming specifically. A lot of times I find amateur golfers are aiming way right at their target. They don't even realize it, then they pull it back. That can obviously lead to a lot of pulls, some slices, and just confusion on what you should actually be working on. So focus on your fundamentals. It'll help you hit more greens and definitely avoid some of those bad habits. The next tip to hit more greens is to simply aim for the middle of the green more often. A lot of times we try and go flag hunting. After we hit a good drive, we think, wow, this is my time. I'm gonna try and get one back. But when we play too aggressive and we get greedy, we're gonna miss a lot more greens and we're gonna leave ourselves short-sighted. So all of a sudden you think you're gonna make a birdie, now you make a bogey or double. So aim for the middle of the green more often. If you're looking for a more advanced strategy to figure out, should I aim for the flag or should I not, definitely want to consider learning more about Decade Golf. This program has revolutionized my game and countless other amateurs, professionals, college players, because it teaches you proper course management based on statistics. If you do want to get started with Decade, make sure you use the code WICKEDSMART and you're saved 20% off your subscription. Before getting into the next strategy, what's the best tip you've ever learned to hit more greens in regulation? Hit the comments now. The next tip to hit more greens is to make sure you have the right strategy on the course with a good pre-shot routine. If you just get up there and laser the distance and kind of walk into the shot, a lot of times you're not going to have the right strategy, you're not going to pick the right targets, and you're not going to be committed when you're over the golf ball. That's why you need a good pre-shot routine. A good routine will make sure you analyze the lie, whether it's fairway, rough, fairway bunker, so you can figure out how it's sitting. Then from there you can determine what the distance is and what club is going to do the job. At that point, you can pick your targets, you can take some good rehearsal swings behind the golf ball, and then you can walk into the shot with confidence. But the problem is a lot of amateur golfers skip all these steps and then they're still thinking about the shot over the golf ball. And when we're thinking, we're going into playing golf swing instead of just playing golf and reacting to our targets. So you want to make sure to really have a consistent routine. It shouldn't slow you down either. A lot of players like to fight back and say, hey, this is going to make it really slow. In fact, if you have a good routine, it's going to be efficient timing and you're going to hit better shots, so you're not going to be searching for as many golf balls and hopefully have a lot lower scores. If you need help with the routine, make sure to download my free pre-shot routine checklist by visiting this URL or checking the link down below. The next tip is really simple. It's just a club up. A lot of times we try and take a club where we have to hit 100% perfect to actually find the dance floor. But if you're relying on 100% perfect contact, chances are you're gonna miss a lot of greens short. And most of the trouble on the golf course is short. That's where the water, the grass bunkers, the deep bunkers are gonna be. So in general, I think missing long is the play. Of course, it will depend on the hole. Every course is a little bit different, but I find that most golfers are simply missing short because they're not taking enough club. When you club up a little bit, if you don't hit it perfect, you still should find the green. If you hit it absolutely pure, you might miss a little bit long. But again, it's not like every greens are 12 slope and you're chipping right downhill and it's nearly impossible up and down. Because if you think about it, even when you miss long, if you're not in a bunker, that chip is probably gonna be a lot easier than if you're in a bunker short of the green. If you look at the stats, amateur golfers simply struggle out of the sand. You want to club up so that way if you hit it good, it's going to be fine, it's going to be on the green. If you don't hit it great, it's going to be still hopefully on the front of the green. And if you hit it too good, you should have an easier chip than that bunker shot short. Of course, if you know your distances, like we talked about in a previous step, that will also help because you're going to know how far every club goes. I know that when you follow these 9 tips and actually stay consistent with it, you're going to hit more greens in regulation. Don't forget, when you hit more greens, you're gonna have a lot more birdie putts and it's gonna be a lot easier to go low every single time. If you need even more tips to play better without changing your swing, make sure to watch these 2 videos next.